The Basiloid lift appliance is used by Lennox and other major companies throughout the world. Basiloid Products Corporation first developed the lift appliance over 50 years ago. The Basiloid lift method makes it possible to move a carton by lifting from the top of the carton instead of using forks, pallets, squeeze clamps, or push-pull equipment. There are many advantages to the Basiloid system, but like any tool, its benefits are only achieved if it's used correctly. This program discusses the basic components of the Basiloid lift appliance, how the components are installed, how the components are used to move a carton safely and without damage, and how the system is maintained. The Basiloid lifting system is actually a matchup of a carton design and the lift appliance equipment. Let's first look at the carton. The top lift carton is uniquely designed for lifting with the Basiloid lift appliance. The carton is folded on its top seams to form a cap which becomes strong enough to carry much of the weight of the carton if the carton is properly lifted. The Lennox folded cap has two smooth sides, typically the wider sides, and two sides with flaps, typically the shorter sides. As a general rule, the carton is lifted with the Basiloid blade supporting the cap on the wider side, but there are cartons where the narrow side is used. Graphics on the carton must be followed to select the proper side for lifting or trucking. Using the Basiloid lift appliance correctly provides a reliable and damage-free method of effectively and safely moving top lift cartons. Now, let's look at the lift appliance. While the lift appliance comes in many designs, the basic concept for all models is the same. This program looks at the Basiloid lift attachments used for single-wide and double-wide handling of cartons. The Basiloid lift appliance has four basic parts. They are the main frame, which includes the sliding drop plate, the lifting blades, the drop plate extensions, and the optional folding forks. The sliding drop plate uses gravity to position itself to support the carton at its bottom. It automatically telescopes down or up to a maximum of 28 inches as the fork carriage is raised or lowered. The amount of travel can be adjusted by changing the position of the sliding drop plate lock. The next component is the lifting blade. The lifting blade is used to support the top of the carton and most of the carton's weight during a lift. Lennox blades are available in widths of 12 inches, 18 inches, 21 inches, and 28 inches. Blades can either be non-offset or offset. For single-wide lifts, a single non-offset blade is typically used. It is installed in the center channel of the main frame. When using the attachments for double widths, two blades are typically used at the outside channels. A spring-loaded safety lock permits the attaching and removing of the blade with ease. The guide fingers on the back side of the blade are an integral part of the lifting blade and must remain in place. They help hold the carton flap straight for full contact and support at the bottom edge of the blade. On some trucks, the guide fingers may need to be relocated to prevent interference with the main frame. How the lifting blade matches up with the top cap of the carton is extremely important. 90% of the weight of the product is picked up on the bottom edge of the cap, not on the underside of the carton flap. This means the height of the blade selected is critical. The blade height must be less than the cap height for a correct lift. For example, when lifting a carton with a 4-inch cap, the depth of the lifting blade is 3 3/4 inches. The bottom edge of the cap must rest on the bottom edge of the blade. The top edge of the blade supports little to no weight of the carton. The top edge of the blade ideally just barely touches the underside of the top edge of the cap. The goal is to keep the lifting cap in compression with no pressure placed on the underside of the top of the carton. The blade must be the correct height to make certain the pressure is on the bottom of the top cap and not on the top of the carton. A blade too tall can easily lead to a damaged carton and likely a damaged product. Blades must also be selected for correct width. Blades that are too narrow can place an excessive load on a small section of the top cap. Follow the blade selection guide matrix and any instructions on the carton top flap to choose the correct blade. Do not use lifting blades that have nicks in the top edge. A damaged blade can catch on the cap of the carton. This can cause carton damage and eventually carton failure. Remember, it's not unusual for a carton to be lifted 20 times or more. If the lifts occur with an improperly sized blade, a lot of expensive damage can occur. It might not occur on the first lift, but it can easily occur on lifts that follow. Failure to follow this matchup can lead to major damage to the top cap, the entire carton, and the product inside the carton. An important set of accessories for the Basiloid lift system are the drop plate extensions. The drop plate extensions are used when handling double-width loads. Each extension is mounted on the side of the sliding drop plate. Safety locks are provided to keep the extensions in their proper position. The side extensions keep the containers supported and prevent their fanning apart when turning. The extensions also permit accurate and true stacking of double-wide products. The side extensions can be installed by one person in a few minutes. Some models of the Basiloid system can be equipped with folding forks for use when handling skidded product. The folding forks are locked in the up position while handling top-lifted cartons. When the folding forks are down, they automatically lock the sliding drop plate in the up position. Note that a leveling adjustment is built into the folding forks. This is done using shims. The lift appliance is easy to install on a forklift truck. The non-Basiloid forks of the truck are removed from the lift truck and placed on a pallet for future use. Raise the carriage bars under the mounting hooks of the attachment, being sure the attachment is safely hooked on the carriage bars. Tilt the mast back slightly while raising the attachment to eye level. Insert the bottom quick disconnect pins. Lower the attachment back to the floor. Attach the drop plate lock if it's needed to the back side of the center keyhole channel. Be sure to read and follow the drop plate lock warning. Position the lock plate so the drop plate base can slide at least 4 inches below the base of the tallest carton that'll be lifted with the attachment. Remember, a drop plate not properly positioned to the carton can cause carton damage. Proper positioning allows the sliding drop plate base to support the strongest part of the carton, which is the 90-degree corner at the base. Lifting blades are attached in the keyhole slots of the main frame. These slots are on 3-inch centers. Select the position that's best for the cartons to be lifted. Be sure that the folding forks are locked in the up position. Check the sliding drop plate for free and easy telescoping and lubricate as needed. Apply lubricant with a brush, not with the hands. Approach the carton with the mast tilted slightly forward. After the blade contacts the carton, raise the lift appliance slowly. Be sure that the blade slides under the carton cap. Improper positioning of the lifting blade could cause damage to the carton. Continue lifting the load until the lift appliance drop plate is 4 or 5 inches off the floor. This allows the sliding drop plate to drop below the base of the carton. Tilt the mast backwards. Remember, lift first, then tilt back. Tilting back before the carton is lifted will damage the carton. Again, remember, lift, then tilt. Lower the load to slightly above the floor before traveling. It's important to always have the mast tilted backwards while traveling with a load. This reduces stress on carton flaps. Placing a carton on the floor is the reverse of picking a carton up off the floor. Tilt the mast slightly forward. This prevents creasing the carton as the lifting blade disengages. Lower the mast until the blade clears the carton cap. Back away slightly and tilt the mast back. Raise the mast until the drop plate roller is off the floor for traveling. To lift and move a carton from a stack, approach the stack to within 2 to 3 inches with the mast vertical. Raise the lift appliance until the top of the blade is just below the carton cap. Tilt the mast forward until the blade is positioned just below the clearance gap of the top cap. Raise the blade. Be sure that the blade slides completely under the carton cap. Continue raising the blade to lift the load free of the stack. Move backwards 6 to 10 inches. Tilt the mast backward. Moving backwards first and then tilting prevents damage to the carton at the bottom of the stack. Once the mast is tilted backward, back away from the stack far enough to clear the load. Lower the load before traveling. Remember, bulky loads obscure vision. Traveling backwards improves the view to the direction traveled. To lift a carton from a conveyor, approach the carton with the mast vertical. Stop when the mast is within 2 to 3 inches of the carton. Tilt the mast forward until the blade contacts the carton. Raise the lift appliance slowly until the blade slides under the carton cap. Be certain the blade slides completely under the carton cap. Lift the load free of the conveyor and then tilt backwards. Remember, lift, then tilt. Back away from the conveyor and lower the load for traveling. Approach the stack with the mast tilted back until the load is within a few inches of the stack. Raise the mast until the bottom of the load is slightly above the top of the lower carton where the lifted carton is to be placed. Move forward until the bottom of the mast is within 6 to 10 inches of the bottom of the stack. Tilt the mast forward and slowly approach the stack until the bottom of the carton is aligned with the top of the stack. Lower the mast until the blade clears the carton cap. Back away, then tilt the mast backwards and lower for traveling. Be sure that the load or lift appliance does not catch on the dock plate, door, or roof. Tilt the mast slightly forward before setting the load down. This prevents creasing the carton as the lifting blade disengages. Lower the mast until the blade clears the carton cap. Back away, then tilt the mast backwards. When tightening the load or sliding cartons into place, do not push against the carton while the blade is engaged or the mast is tilted backward. This could cause damage to the carton, its contents, or the lift appliance itself. Be certain that both the blade and the bottom of the drop plate are applying equal pressure to the cap of the carton and the bottom of the carton that's being pushed. Do not set up, Use or repair any lift truck attachment until you've read all warnings and instructions relating to the proper use of the lift truck and its attachment. Before use, make sure that the lift truck attachment is properly set up for the job to be performed. Do not place your hands in the lift attachment when it's raised. Report any damage immediately. Do not use the lift truck attachment to lift any cartons when the tops of the cartons are damaged. Make sure that all loads lifted are properly centered. Do not allow anyone to stand or pass under the lift truck attachment. Do not travel a lift truck unless the lift truck attachment is in the lowered position with the sliding drop plate roller off the floor. Do not park a lift truck unattended with the attachment in the lifted position with or without a load. When using the folding forks, make sure they're lowered into the proper position and are properly leveled. Do not overload the lift truck attachment and never exceed the load capacity of the lift truck. Using the Basiloid lift appliance reduces the load capacity of a lift truck. The new load capacity depends on the specific lift appliance used, the type of truck used, and how the lift appliance is attached to the truck. Before using the lift appliance, you should determine the load capacity of the truck with the lift appliance attached. If assistance is needed to determine the new load capacity with the lift appliance attached, consult the dealer or truck manufacturer. To avoid possible injury, never exceed the load capacity of the lift truck with the lift appliance attached. Extensive and expensive efforts go into the comfort products transported inside the protection of the top lift carton. The integrity of those products and the company that manufactures them can be impacted by the care taken when handling the cartons. A product delivered to the customer with damage, whether visible or invisible, is costly to everyone: the customer, the contractor, and the person who did not take the few extra seconds to move the product with care. The damage caused by mishandling is not always obvious, but the weakening of the carton and the potential for damage to the product is there, ready to become all too real the next time the carton is handled. The Basiloid lift system will do its job with little chance of failure if the operator does their part by following a few simple steps to achieve reliable lifts and transport. Do your part. Truck with care.